Hello and welcome to this session. This is Professor Farhat, in which we would look at the four remaining components of the system of quality management. In the prior sessions, we looked first at the system of quality management. What is that system? We talked about that. Then in the prior session, we started to look at the various components, at the architect, at the elements of that system. And specifically, we looked at the firm risk assessment process as one element, governance and leadership, relevant ethical requirement, acceptance and continuation of client relationship. In this session, we will cover the remaining four. There are 8 elements in total, which are engagement performance, resources, which include people, information and communication, monitoring and remediation process. And remember what we said in the prior session, each component influence and support the others. So a weakness in one area, like resources, like specifically people, if they are not well prepared, can impair the effectiveness of the entire system. So in this session, we will focus on the 4 remaining elements. Let's go ahead and get started. Before we proceed any further, I have a public announcement about my company, farhatlectures.com. Most students and CPA candidates struggle not because audit is too hard, but because it's taught fast and the logic behind the procedure isn't explained clearly. Then everything feels disconnected. At Farhat Lectures, we break audit down step by step. We explain the why behind the standards, the logic behind the assertions, risks, procedures, evidence, so the whole process finally clicks. When the concepts connect, audit becomes clear and manageable. You stop memorizing and start understanding. Ready for auditing to make sense? Start your free trial at farhatlectures.com. Starting with the engagement performance. Engagement performance is what? This is where the rubber meets the road. Now we're driving the car and we are performing the audit. What do we need to know? The first thing, we have to have clear responsibilities. Who's performing the actual execution? And we must establish audit objective that ensure all engagement team members, if you are working on that audit, you need to understand your responsibility. And that's part of the audit team. Am I checking or the inventory, or are you checking the inventory? If you think you're checking the inventory and I think I'm checking the inventory, maybe no one's checking inventory. So the engagement partner maintain the overall responsibility for that engagement quality. And this is where they have to supervise the process. They cannot just let it go. So we have to have clear definition about who's responsible for what. This is going to reduce confusion, duplication of effort, or gaps in oversight. So what does that mean? Responsibilities, clear responsibilities is important. Supervision is based on risk and experience. The nature, extent, and timing of supervision is not the same for every single account, for every single transaction. The complexity and risk of the engagement will determine how much supervision we should undertake for this engagement, and the experience level of the team members. Less experienced staff obviously would require closer supervision and more detailed review. More complex transaction, more complex audit would require more supervision, of course. So on a complex revenue audit, a first-year associate performed testing under close manager supervision, while a senior handles a lower risk area with lighter oversight. Not the same if they are auditing supplies and prepaid. So not everything is the same. Because if you put too much supervision, you might handicap the audit. And if you don't provide enough supervision, too little, you could miss errors and fraud. So this is a balance. So the first thing under the engagement performance, supervision is important. Who supervises you? The people above you, usually management. At the end of the day, partners are responsible for everything. So if the ship sinks, the captain will have to answer. That's no ifs and buts about that. Now let's talk about professional skepticism. This is the heartbeat of auditing. What's professional skepticism? It's basically a mental shield, maintaining professional skepticism, a questioning mind. See if there's any inconsistent evidence. Look for that. Question that inconsistent evidence. Remain alert to biases. Remain alert to red flag. Do not assume that management is honest.
This is what we mean by professional skepticism. And this is not cynicism. This is basically being disciplined in verifying what management is giving us. It's essential to reach a reliable conclusion. We cannot make any assumption. So we have to exercise sound professional judgment when we are evaluating accounting estimate, because estimates are what? They are subject to guessing, assessing materiality, determining how much audit evidence do we have. Judgment should be supported by appropriate documentation and reasoning. You cannot just say, let's move on, let's check the boxes. Do we have the evidence for that? Is it documented? What happens if we don't know how to deal with a certain topic? Not specifically topic, a certain account. It's a new account, it's a complicated account, we don't have the expertise. Consultation. When issues are complex, the firm should require consultation with internal specialists, and if we don't have an internal specialist, go with an external specialist. That's perfectly fine. But know when you need that help. So an engagement team encounter a complex goodwill impairment issue and consult with the firm valuation specialist before finalizing a conclusion. Why? Because when you are dealing with goodwill, you have to deal with cash flow assumptions, interest rate assumptions. How do we determine those? Require judgment. So what do we have to do? Consult with someone, either internally or externally. And what could that do? That could lead into disagreements. How do we deal with those disagreements? Well, resolution of disagreements, the firm must establish procedures. If we have a disagreement, like a contentious matter, like a goodwill impairment, as I just mentioned earlier, you need to consult. It's good to consult. It must be resolved before we issue the audit report. So that consultation first will be done among the team members or between the engagement team and the consultant, whether that consultant is internal or external. Remember, before we issue the report, let's get it done and make sure we document. Documentation is important. So if we need to go back and see what happened, we have to document everything. Document should be complete and timely. It means document everything on time because people forget. Sufficient to support the conclusion. If we document, what did we document? Did we have enough evidence? Because think about it. At the end of the day, always think you're in a hot seat in front of a judge or a jury or a lawyer that doesn't like you. Can you support what you did? Documentation would help you. It should be prepared in accordance with professional standard, and documentation should demonstrate that the required procedure was performed, evidence was evaluated, and the conclusion was supported. For example, if the senior auditor disagrees with management inventory valuation, the issue is escalated to the engagement partner. We document the process, we analyze it, and we have to resolve it before we issue the opinion. Now let's move to element number 6, which is what? The resources. The resources are what? Those are the fuel for the system. So any plan without resources is wishful thinking. If you don't have the proper people, if you don't have the proper resources, the proper technology, the proper intellectual resources, those are wishful thinking. You cannot complete the job. So to perform engagement that meet professional standard, you must allocate sufficient and appropriate resources based on the nature and the complexity. And the resources must be aligned with the firm's quality objective and responsive to the engagement risk. We don't allocate the same resources to every engagement. For example, when it comes to people, the firm must ensure that the people that work on the engagement, they have the necessary competency and capabilities, receive the appropriate training, they are properly trained, they are assigned sufficient time to perform their responsibilities properly. What does that mean? Let's think you are auditing a derivative instrument. Okay, no problem. You hired the best mathematician, but you gave them 15 minutes to finish the work. They're going to fail. They need 2 days. Well, if you gave them 15 minutes, you did not give them enough time, enough resources. So time pressure would erode quality in that situation. So this includes policies related to hiring qualified professional, ongoing education, special development, retention, and performance. And if you have any specialized issues, give them enough time for the people to resolve it. How about technological and intellectual and external resources? Those are resources. You need technology. The firm must obtain or develop the appropriate software to document the system, risk assessment and data analysis. We must have secure communication and data protection. We must have the proper audit software and data analytics, secure IT systems. We cannot function without those. Intellectual resources like what? Firm policies and procedures, audit methodology, industry-specific guidance, technical accounting manuals. Those are what you need as information. These resources must be consistent with the professional standard and updated, because rules do get updated. What else? Sometimes we might go for an external provider. But if we go for an external provider, it doesn't mean once I go to an external provider, my responsibility is shielded. No. If we hire someone externally, like service providers, specialist, IT expert, somebody for valuation purposes, the responsibility remains with the firm. You may outsource the task, but you cannot outsource the responsibility, the accountability. So in certain circumstances, we may rely on external providers, technology platform, consultation. The firm must ensure that the use of these services is appropriate given the engagement, risk, and quality objective. At the end of the day, the buck stops with us. So a firm auditing a company with complex cybersecurity control engages an external IT specialist, but they remain responsible for evaluating the specialist's work and integrating that into their audit conclusion. It's your responsibility.